It's episode 532 of the Locked On Texas Rangers podcast. On today's episode, I'm continuing my prospect rankings series, going prospects number 11 through 15 on this list. We are into the top half. Let's get into it on this episode of Locked On Rangers.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked on to the Texas Rangers. I'm your host, Brice Paterik. On today's episode, I'm continuing my Monday series for the month of January, the last January edition. Hopefully, by the time I'm finished with this, the hope was that the Rangers, or I guess Major League Baseball and the Players Association, will have a deal done. It will look like spring training and stuff. We'll start on time. But first, I want to thank you guys so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen of the day. If you're not already, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterik. Follow the show at Locked On Rangers and subscribe on YouTube. Now, some housekeeping stuff first. I did, if you can see, you can't really see it, but if you're looking on YouTube, right here is my microphone. I have heard your cries. Instead of having my microphone way over here, looking at the camera over here, I put them both generally in front of me. Hopefully that will fix some of the sound issues that I've been having. I also got another monitor so I can see more things. Hopefully that will make the podcast better in the future. If not, then I don't know. Blame Amazon for selling me faulty stuff. I mean, it's probably not that fault, but I'm gonna blame them anyway because I don't want to take blame on this. Anyway, this is one of my, as we go on in this, I mean, all 30 of these prospects are my beloved prospects, but this group has a special place in my heart, mainly because of number 15. Now, let's go ahead and start on number 15 on this list. We have a guy who is a right-handed pitcher, a guy who has been on the podcast, the only prospect on this list who has been on the podcast so far. We'll work on getting more of those as we move on. But this guy, number 15, that's right, it's Zak Kent, the 23-year-old right-handed pitcher. He's going to be turning 24 before the season starts, unless the season starts on February 23rd, which I don't think will happen. But like I said, he's a right-handed pitcher, bats and throws right-handed. Listed at 6'3", 208 pounds. If you haven't already, go ahead and watch or listen to that episode that I did interviewing Zak Kent about his season. It's really great stuff. He was really generous with his time and with his answers, and I feel like I learned a whole lot about him, and I feel like anyone who listens to it will learn a whole lot more than I can tell him in this short stint. But he's listed at 6'3", 208 pounds. Last year he was not on my rankings. He's not on any rankings except for the Athletics mid-season rankings. He was number 44 on that list. How did he get here? He was a 2019 ninth-round pick, 152nd overall by the Rangers. And yeah, he had a great season with the Rangers. He finished up in Double-A. He started the season in Hickory, where he was not there in the bullpen. This is his Hickory stats because those were much better. I'll go into his Frisco stats in a minute. But in Hickory, he had 14 games. He started in the pen, 5 games out of the pen, and started 9 games of his 14. Pitched 60 and a third innings in Hickory, 2.83 ERA, 78 strikeouts, 15 walks, a 1.011 whip, and only allowed 5 home runs in that time. He was absolutely nails. His MLB ETA, I'd say 2023, towards the back end of 2023, he needs to figure out Double-A because Double-A didn't go so great for him. But this season was solid. His pitch arsenal, he sits 92 to 96 with his fastball, touching 98. It's a four-seamer. His slider is his best pitch. He also throws curveballs and changeups as well. But when Ronny Henriquez got promoted, that was the best thing for him. This guy did not allow a single run out of the pen in his first 5 outings as a reliever and was a starter for the whole rest of the year. He made 6 starts in Frisco where things didn't go as great for him, and he would be the first one to tell you that. He said he felt like he left a lot on the table in Frisco. The home run ball was a real challenge for him in Frisco. In 28 and 2/3 innings, he allowed 9 home runs, which is less than half the innings that he pitched in Hickory, and he allowed nearly twice as many home runs. He also walked 9 batters, so the walks, it's one of the things he does very well. But this guy is such a unique pitcher, and one of the reasons why I like him so much is that he throws his slider more often than he throws his fastball. He uses his fastball as kind of a change of pace, and pitches primarily with the slider, but still has such good control of it that he can keep it in the strike zone and throw it for strikes and not walk too many guys and still strike out quite a few. He has done fantastic at that. He didn't have great numbers at the VMI, but one of the things I learned by talking to him is at the VMI, Virginia Military Institute, for those of you who don't know the shorthand for that lovely university, it's an extreme hitter's park. So you learn real quickly how to keep the ball in the ballpark. I mean, he let up quite a few home runs, 11 home runs in 75 innings in his sophomore year, but only 7 in 97 innings in his senior year. The ERA doesn't look super great when you look at all those, but the Rangers saw past that. They saw the potential of this guy, and they really liked him. They drafted him, and he ended up rewarding them by doing super well. But again, he had a 5.34 ERA in Frisco this year. Things were not as great for him. Allowed 10.7 hits per 9 innings, where he was only at 6.9 in Hickory, which I think was pretty nice. But 2.8 home runs per 9 innings in Frisco. That is ridiculous numbers. And I don't think it's sustainable. There are a lot of guys who got hit for quite a few home runs in Frisco that I'll get to later on in this episode. But this guy has a lot of potential. I think I think he really is a major league starter. That's why I put him this high on my list. It's not just because I talked to him and I like him. I really think that this guy has a lot of potential. I think that he could be a middle of the rotation starter. I think that's his ceiling, and I think that's about where he's going to land. If things really break out, then he could be a number 3 starter. I think more likely option is a number 4 starter with a pretty solid major league career and sticks in the big leagues for quite a while. This guy, at the very worst, he's going to be an absolutely disgusting reliever. I don't think that's the case. I think he's going to stick in the big leagues, or at least in the minor leagues for now. The Rangers are going to give him every chance to be a starter and to stay as a starter because he earned that starting rotation spot in a very crowded Hickory starting rotation. It did take for Ronny Henriquez to get promoted, but still, this guy's got potential. This guy has a very unique style of pitching, and I really, really like him. That's why I'm going to put him at number 15 on my list. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting kind of hungry, and I'm feeling like it's time to talk about some Built Bars. Yeah, that's right. This episode is brought to you by Built Bar. It's the new year, which means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure to include Built Bar in your plans. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, but I think it tastes better than some candy bars. Some candy bars taste like trash, and other protein bars taste like absolute doggy doo-doo compared to Built Bars. I'm going to say it. Some people are scared to say it, but I'm not scared to say it. Built Bar makes other protein bars taste like doggy doo-doo, and you don't want to eat that. You'd rather eat some Built Bars. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. They're also very good for you if you're not super great about working out consistently. You can eat some Built Bars, and it's basically the same thing. Here's a new year idea. You can go throw out your secret treat stashes and replace those with Built Bars. It'll be much better for you. It'll taste just as good, if not better, than whatever you got in your secret stash of not so good, not so healthy treats. But just replace those with Built Bar. And you can do that by going to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off at Built.com. This episode is also brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing number of makes and models, it's super impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all of the parts that you need. Why would you do all these pointless questions about things you might not even know or be sure about, or the person asking you doesn't even really need to ask you? Wait while the person behind the counter orders parts with their computer, choosing only the brand their warehouse happens to carry. You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. You can save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why do you spend over 30, 50, even 100% for the same parts from a chain store or a car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Their prices are reliably low for every single customer, so you can go explore their easy-to-use website today. Find the solution for your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or truck right locked on in their How'd You Hear About Us box, so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. Now, this next prospect, we're continuing the trend with some right-handed pitchers. There's going to be quite a few right-handed pitchers in today's, actually the first 3 are all right-handed pitchers. Let's go ahead and get into number 14. That's right, it's A.J. Alexy. The 23-year-old is turning 24 on the day after 421. and he is a right-handed pitcher, throws and bats right-handed. You have seen him in the big leagues this year. He has done fairly well there. Well, at least he started off pretty well. Anyway, listed at 6'4", 195 pounds last year. He was not in my rankings. MLB.com has him 21. Baseball America does not have him in their top 10. Baseball Prospectus, however, does at 10. The Athletic had him all the way at 11 in their mid-season rankings. Now, one of the big questions I have for him is he a starter? That's one of the biggest questions. In the minor leagues this year, he had a great minor league season. In case you forgot how he got here, he was part of the Yu Darvish trade. He was drafted in 2016 by the Dodgers in the 11th round, 341 overall. He has made it to the big leagues. I don't think he's going to start there next year, but had a solid, really great season in the minor leagues before getting called up to the big leagues between AA and AAA, where his numbers were pretty similar. He had 16 games, 10 starts, 65 innings, a 1.66 ERA, 75 strikeouts, 27 walks, 6 home runs, and a 1.015 whip. Now, one of the biggest questions, besides can he stick as a starter, is what can he develop that starter stamina and keep that high velocity that he showed in the minor leagues. In the minor leagues, he showed quite a bit. He basically sat in the mid-90s and touched all the way up to 99. He didn't do that so much in his big league debut. And he threw 54% of his pitches were fastballs in the big leagues, and they averaged 93 miles an hour, which is quite a few ticks below where he was sitting in the minor leagues. He threw his slider, which was fine. 19% of the time, average 81 miles an hour. The changeup was at 86, 18% of the time, and the curveball, 8%, was 76 miles an hour. Now, the few percentile rankings that he does have, because he didn't pitch all that much in the big leagues, just 5 games, 4 of those were starts, 23 innings. He struck out 17 with a 4.70 ERA and a 1.30 whip. His fastball velocity, 50th percentile, exactly average. Curveball spin, 52nd percentile. Fastball spin, below average, 44th percentile. Now, one of the things that was so appealing about him is that he not only had the speed, the velocity on his fastball, but he also had quite a bit of curve, or quite a bit of spin, not curve, well, kind of curve movement, whatever you want to call it. And he just hasn't gone that deep into games. That's one of my biggest concerns for him. One of the cool things about him and what he did this year at the big league level is that he showed a whole bunch of more stamina, more, going deeper into games than he did even at the minor league level this year. In his major league debut, he went 5 innings and threw 81 pitches, didn't allow a single run, only 1 hit and 3 walks in those 5 innings, and struck out 4 against the Colorado Rockies. Things went really well again against LA. He threw 6 innings and looked pretty solid while doing it, only allowed 1 hit, 2 walks, and struck out 7 at that point. It only allowed 2 hits through his first 11 major league innings. That was really solid. Things didn't go super well after that, though. Houston made sure to absolutely crush him. 3 2/3 innings he pitched against them, allowed 4 hits and 6 earned runs. He walked 4 and allowed a pair of home runs. Things didn't go super great for him against the Yankees. 3 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 6 walks. It was 4 walks against the Astros in 3 2/3 innings, and 3 1/3 innings he allowed 6 walks, 1 strikeout, 1 home run, 4 hits, 4 earned runs against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Things didn't go super great for him there, but he finished the season all right. 5 innings, which is a big deal for him. If he can consistently go 5-6 innings, then that means he's actually a legit starter. And he allowed 2 runs, 3 hits in 5 innings against the Angels. So he just really does well against the Angels. Now, can he stay as a starter? Those are the big questions about him. Can he maintain that velocity? Can he develop that starter's stamina? I project him as a number 4 starter. He's had a pretty good minor league career, missed some time in 2019 with a lat injury, but has been fairly healthy since he's been with the Rangers. And this was by far his best year, his absolute breakout year. Made it to the big leagues. Though he probably wasn't quite ready for the big leagues, he still showed that he can do it at the big league level, and that was definitely encouraging. But I project him as a number 4 starter. If not, then he's going to be a disgusting reliever with some really, really nasty stuff and some super high velocity. Now, let's go on to number 13. This guy's another right-handed pitcher. That's right. It's Ronny Henriquez, the medium height king, as I call him. He's 5'10", so we'll get him. We'll get there. He's 21 years old, born on June 20th in the year 2000. Sorry, the year 2000 just threw me for a loop. Right-handed pitcher, throws and bats right-handed, listed at 5'10", 155 pounds. Man, this was a skinny kid. Last year I had him at 14 in the rankings. MLB Pipeline has him at 15. BA does not have him in their top 10, but BP has him all the way at 12. The Athletic has him down at 22, which was really surprising for me. I couldn't believe that they had him that low last year after how highly the Rangers think of him. But how did he get here? He was a 2017 July 3rd signing, not a J2 signing the day after. Signed for $10,000. This kid is a medium height king that fell under the radar when he was coming out of, where was he? The Dominican Republic. But the Rangers took a $10,000 flyer on him. Of course, that doesn't count towards their bonuses, but they thought, hey, I think this kid can actually do something. But he has an absolutely lively fastball for someone his height, a whole lot of power behind it, a whole lot of oomph, a whole lot of booty to get that power behind all of his stuff. But he sits 92 to 96 with his four-seam fastball, tops out at 98, has a very high spin rate on that as well. So it's not just the velocity, it's the spin rate as well. His two off-speed, or I guess two non-fastball pitches, a slider and a changeup, both those profile as 55 is what MLB Pipeline has him. I think they both could be plus pitches in the future. He's also got really solid control. They rate that as a 50, but they give him a 45 overall as a prospect. I don't understand. They put a 60 on his fastball, 55 on his slider and changeup, 50 on his control, and a 45 overall. I don't really know what they want, but their ratings are kind of weird anyway. What did he do last year? Between Hickory and AA, he pitched in 21 games, 16 of those were starts, 93 and 2/3 innings, a 4.71 ERA, 105 strikeouts, 25 walks, 17 home runs. Now, he was a tale of two levels. That was exactly kind of like Zak Kent, but to a little bit more of an extreme level. The home runs were really just a problem in Frisco. In 5 starts in Hickory, he really got out of there pretty quickly. 24 innings, he only allowed 2 home runs in those 24 innings. Then he goes up all the way to Frisco. He allows 15 home runs in 69 and 2/3 innings. That is 1.9 home runs per 9 innings. That is not tenable. That is not good. That is Jordan Lylezian, and he might end up allowing more now that he's in Baltimore. But anyway, the guy who has 3+ pitches and a pretty good control of them, that's a guy who you bet on. That's a guy who you feel really good about. He's still 21 years old and in Frisco. He's very advanced for his age. I think he's definitely going to have to repeat Frisco, and I think he gets to the big leagues sometime toward the end of 2023. He's not going to be there this year unless he absolutely annihilates Frisco and AAA. I don't see that happening. He hasn't quite put it together at any one league yet, except for his very first major league, or I guess minor league debut at age 18 in the Dominican Summer League. He absolutely crushed it that year. 11 games started, 58 innings, a 1.55 ERA, struck out 79, only walked 8, and only allowed 2 home runs and 37 hits. 5.7 hits per 9 innings, 0.3 home runs per 9 innings, and 1.2 walks per 9 innings, while striking out 12.3 per 9 in his stateside, or I guess just minor league debut, because that was not stateside. But things haven't quite come together. He got singled to death in Hickory in 2019, and a little bit, mainly just in Hickory. He got singled and doubled to death, and then homered to death in Frisco. I don't know what the heck the deal was with the home run numbers. Him and Avery Weems and A.J. Alexy all allowed quite a few home runs. Actually, I'm not exactly sure if Weems was up at the AA level. I think he might have finished the year there, but again, a lot of home runs given up at the AA level this year. A really good pitcher. I think he projects as a number 3 starter. I really like this kid. I really like what he's got there. As a 21-year-old, he's very advanced, so there's still a lot of time. The Rangers protected him, put him on the 40-man roster, not taking any chances in losing him to the Rule 5 draft in his first Rule 5 year. But again, this guy is definitely someone to keep your eye on, who I think will do very well in AA next year. I'm hoping he can make quite a bit of improvements on what he did this year. Limit those home runs. Don't get absolutely killed by him. And things will go much better for him in the future. Now, I think the Rangers are betting quite a bit on his future. And if you want to bet on sports, there's only one place to go. It's betonline.ag. There might be less football being played, but BetOnline has way more stuff to bet on this playoff season, from scored totals. It's just a Super Bowl. My beloved Chiefs, my beloved son, Patrick Mahomes, is not going to be in the Super Bowl. But, we got quite a few Dallas area high school kids that are on the Rams, and also quite a few on the Bengals as well. If you want to bet on Joey B going nuts, being the first kid to ever win a Heisman, a national championship, and a Super Bowl, you can do that. Or if you want to bet on the poor man who spent most of his career with the Detroit Lions, winning a Super Bowl in his first year away from the Detroit Lions, in a beautiful moment of victory for him and for those who want to escape the city of Detroit, you can do that as well. It's not just football. BetOnline has basketball, hockey, boxing. UFC coverage is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your number one online wagering destination. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, we are at number 12. We only have 2 more to go in this series of 5, I guess. Yeah, this group of 5. Number 12 is a guy who was part of the Joey Gallo trade, a guy whose position isn't quite defined. That's right. It's Trevor Hauver, the 23-year-old born November. I keep putting these as numbers, and I keep forgetting what number corresponds to what month because my brain is broken and doesn't work good. But anyway, all that to say, born November 20th, 1998. His position is second baseman, or is he a left fielder? He's one of those two things. He bats left-handed, he throws right-handed. Listed at 6 foot, 205 pounds. Last year he was not in my ranking because he was not in the system. MLB Pipeline has him at 13. BP has him at, he does not have him in the top 12. I'm pretty sure. Let me go double check. Baseball America does not have him ranked, but yeah. BP doesn't have him ranked in their top 12 either. But how did he get here? Part of the Joey Gallo trade. The 2020 draft, drafted in the 3rd round, 152nd pick overall. The Athletic has him at 24, I believe, in their rankings. Yes, 24 in their rankings. So he was a 3rd round pick in the 2020 draft by the Yankees, 152nd overall. He played at Hickory this year with the Rangers. He played at a low A level with the Yankees, where he did very, very well. The Yankees drafted him out of Arizona State in the Pac-12, spent a few years there, absolutely crushed it. His last year there in 2020, very abbreviated season, had an OPS of 1.189, 1189 OPS in, again, very limited sample size because it was 2020, so the season got cut short because that's what happens. But 17 games, 83 plate appearances was quite a good showing for him there. In 2019, as a 20-year-old, playing mostly the outfield, that's where he played in college, had an OPS over 1,000, on base of 433, slugged 574 in that time. 13 home runs for him in 57 games as a sophomore. That's 289 plate appearances. That's a much more substantial showing. He also had 5 home runs in 17 games in 2020. So I would have loved to see where those power numbers went as things, move forward. But again, didn't pitch in the minor leagues or play in the minor leagues in 2020 because, again, he just got drafted and also there was no minor league season. But this is his minor league debut season in Tampa as a 22-year-old this year, because that's actually, no, he just turned 23 at the end of the season. He played in 66 games with the Yankees before getting traded to the Rangers. That's 299 plate appearances. I wish he would have had like one more, just exactly an even 300. That would have been fun. Anyway, his slash line there was 288, 445, and slugged 498. That's a 943 OPS, which is really solid. 33 games with Hickory. He was a year below the average age there. He was 0.7 years above the average age in Tampa. So nice to see him get a little bit of a promotion after doing very, very well. The Rangers felt pretty good about him, obviously enough to promote him and not put him in low A immediately. 33 games, didn't go quite as well, wasn't terrible, just wasn't nearly as good as what he did in the lower level. 33 games, 143 plate appearances with the Rangers in Hickory High A. He hit 6 home runs, 4 doubles, slash line of 246, on base 357, slugged 426. That's a 783 OPS, which is fine. Not great, but fine. By the way, for the season, he had 84 walks to 125 strikeouts. That was 20 walks to 47 strikeouts with the Rangers. And in Tampa, he had 64 walks to 78 strikeouts. It's a guy who, kind of like Willie Calhoun, his position is I hit really good. And so he's going to be either a second baseman or a left fielder. If he gets up with the Rangers soon, it's probably almost definitely going to be in left field because that second base is pretty much taken. In case you forgot, Marcus Semien, Texas Ranger for the next 8 years? 7 years? 8 years? 8 years. Yes. 8 years. So he's probably not going to be playing second base all that much, Trevor Hauver, at the major league level, I think. But his MLB ETA, I'd say he gets there 2024. I don't think he gets there this year. I think it would be early 2024, maybe middle of the season, depending on how things go. I think he's probably going to start the season in Frisco. They obviously feel pretty good about this guy. Not outstanding numbers in Hickory, but solid above average numbers. 783 OPS is nothing to sneeze at when you're still below the average age. He's going to be at 23 next year, so I think putting him in Hickory, I don't know. It depends on how they feel he looks in spring training, but I feel they're going to be pretty aggressive with this guy. They really like his bat. Didn't project for a whole lot of power, but again, he hit 15 home runs this season in 99 games, so I feel like that says quite a bit about his power level. Obviously, the approach is pretty advanced. I'd like to see him cut down a little bit on the strikeouts, but the walk numbers, walk rate is pretty solid. I think he is going to move to left field. There's obviously quite a few middle infielders, especially if he goes to Double-A next year. I think he's definitely going to have to move to the outfield to get some at-bats, and either way, I haven't seen anybody rave about his defense at second base or in the outfield. Not a super big arm, so left field is probably the play there. That's also why he plays second base. So might as well go ahead and put him back in the outfield. The Yankees, I get why they try him at second base. Obviously, they have more of a need, less of a sure thing in the middle infield than the Rangers do for the next 8 years. So I think most of these guys, unless they're legit, you're very sure that they're going to stick in the middle infield. You might want to give them some reps in the outfield if they want to see major league time with the Rangers as a regular. But I feel really good about him. I think I give him a roll 55. Solid starter on a decent team, plays left field, and hits well enough to make up for his probably below average defense. But I feel really good about him. Solid guy. I'm feeling better and better about the Rangers trade of Joey Gallo as the days go on. I'm still never going to feel good about it because it's Joey Gallo, but if he can do well and be a solid major league starter, then I'd feel much, much better about it, especially with the other guys in that trade. But the last one for today, number 11, we have Maximo Acosta, 19-year-old shortstop, was born October 29th, 2002. Gosh, that makes me feel so freaking old. He bats right-handed, throws right-handed, again, shortstop. Listed at 6'1", 187 pounds. Last year I had him at number 8 in my rankings, so he fell 3 spots this year. MLB Pipeline has him at 10. BA does not have him in their top 10. BP does not have him in their top 12, which really surprised me. I mean, this guy is definitely top 15 material, and The Athletic had him all the way down at 23. I don't love that. I guess besides MLB Pipeline, I'm by far the high guy on him, and MLB Pipeline I don't think has updated their rankings for this year. But yeah, how did he get here? He signed in 2019, July 2nd signing for $1.65 million out of Venezuela. He has played in the Arizona League. That is the only place that he has played. He was 18 this year. In 17 games, he had 68 plate appearances, where he put up a slash line of 246, 279, and slugged 393. That is a 673 OPS. Not great, but okay for a small child in a very small sample size. Had 1 home run, 2 triples, and 2 doubles. Walked 3 times, struck out 15, stole 7 bases on 9 attempts, caught stealing twice. So there's not a whole lot to go on there. But I really think this guy sticks at shortstop. The Rangers are obviously very high on him. He didn't. The Gleyber-Torres comps kind of went away after this year, but maybe that's for the best because Gleyber-Torres kind of fell off a cliff this year. So Maybe you don't want to be shackled to a guy who fell off a cliff. But I really think this guy sticks at shortstop. I think he's an above-average starter on a decent, if not playoff team. I think of the guys in this system who are listed as shortstop prospects, I think this guy is the most likely to play shortstop consistently as a starter in the major league level. His defense is that good. His arm is good. His approach is very advanced for a teenager. He's going to be 19 all season. I'm curious to see what the Rangers do with him if they start him in low A. I think that might be the move. But again, I don't know what he did in the fall. A shoulder injury sidelined him. That's why he only played in 17 games. He would have had a little bit more. Still wouldn't have had that much data on him, but I would have liked to see a little bit more. Depends on, obviously, where he gets assigned next year. Obviously depends on how he does in spring training. But this guy, I put a roll 6 on him. I feel really good about this guy being a first division starter, being a legit shortstop with legit good defense, an advanced approach, and a little bit of power. I think he can pull that off. But again, he's only had 17 games as a professional while he was 18 and 2 years younger than the average player in that league. So he didn't even start in the Dominican League. I think it says a lot the Rangers started him in the Arizona Complex League as opposed to the Dominican League. So that's what I have to say about that. Not a whole lot of data on him. I'm really curious to see how he does next year because this guy's got a lot of potential. The sky is the absolute limit for him. And I think of the infielder prospects in this Rangers system, he has the second highest ceiling. Actually, no, I'm going to stick with that. Second highest ceiling. Anyway, that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Rangers. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. And if you're not already, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterik. Follow the show at Locked On Rangers and subscribe on YouTube. That'll do it for this edition. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.